Hi, my name is Ian Zatman from Security Online Academy, and in this video I'm going to be talking about private search engines as opposed to private browsers. Now this is the first time I put myself on camera, mainly because of what I was calling COVID hair. My hair was out here looking a bit like a mad professor. So I've had a haircut, and yeah, this is a haircut, but it's better than it was before. So I'm going to get on talking about the possibilities of what you need to do to search privately, what Google's doing to track you, as we know Google tracks everything, and how you can search privately, and how you can get different results depending upon the search engine that you use. So let's get into it. I'm just going to move myself down here. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Google's search bubble, or alternatively called the Google filter bubble. So essentially what Google does, and this article sort of nicely explains it, Google presents you with search results according to your personal data that is collected through your search history, browsing history, shopping history, location, and even your email. Now, I've known that Google's been tracking you for a long time, and most of you probably know this too. Whether you know it or not, Google's also tracking everything you do in your Gmail, if you use Gmail. I tend not to use Gmail for that reason. There's an example here on this article where somebody had done a search on hotels, and the Google results had said, we chose these hotels based on emails about hotel reservations in your Gmail account. Pretty curious and rather disconcerting. Now, as it happens, I know that Gmail scans your emails for pretty much anything and everything to present you with ads. And I used to have a lot of fun when I did encrypted email. I ran an encrypted email service for a while. And depending upon what was in the contents of your email, it showed you ads according to that. So once you encrypted the actual email itself, the only thing left was the subject line. And they got great ads based on the subject line. My most fun one was chickens for dinner, and it gave me all sorts of ads for chicken and for dinner. It was fun, but it was quite disconcerting to see in action what Gmail and what Google actually do to you. Now, this whole business of collecting your search history, browsing history, shopping history, location, and email, this is what Google does. And there was an internet activist called Eli Pariser who called this the filter bubble. Hence, we call it the Google's filter bubble. Now, Eli Pariser was an activist from a long time ago. He's been around for a while. He started MoveOn.org, and he's been calling out Google for what it does for a long time. Now, I ran into an example of Google's filter bubble the other day when checking Google for Tucker Carlson Tonight. Now, I'm a Brit, obviously. I tend to look at newspapers from all the spectrums. I look at the Telegraph, the Express, the Daily Mail, fairly right-wing papers, also the Guardian and the Independent, which are fairly left-wing newspapers in the UK. Now, my wife's American, and so she'll go searching for American news, and she'll look at CNN, she'll look at MSNBC, but she'll also look at Tucker Carlson, 60 Minutes. But finding Tucker Carlson was interesting. Normally what she's done, she's gone onto Google and done a search, Tucker Carlson Tonight, and up comes, and she'll go select one or two of these videos. There are problems with some of these videos, as we're not quite sure whether it's YouTube and Google who are censoring these particular or altering these particular videos. But as you can see, this one here, they stick Trump's face on many of these over some of the videos that Tucker Carlson's trying to show, just to spoil it. We don't quite understand why that's happening, but it certainly is. But anyway, I happened to be on my wife's computer, and as you can see up here, I use sorted search engines. I happened to use DuckDuckGo on her computer, and I did the same search, and what it came up with was BitChute. I never even knew that Tucker Carlson was on BitChute, or that was being shown there. So you can see the same search on google.co.uk, might be the same for google.com, gave me only videos on YouTube and Facebook and Fox, whereas the first thing that DuckDuckGo did was it gave me a different set of search results. That's because DuckDuckGo does not use the Google search engine. It uses a lot of different search engines, a lot of different sources. But I went on to BitChute and I found numerous channels showing pretty much uncensored Tucker Carlson's. Here was one, a fellow called Free Speech Warrior, and he's put on a Tucker Carlson. From what I can tell, he does them most nights. There's other channels that do it, but this is a complete Tucker Carlson tonight. The only thing that's out of it is the commercials. So that was my first real inkling, though I knew about it, but I'd not actually experienced it firsthand, that when you're searching for something, you get a different set of results if you're using Google than if you're using DuckDuckGo. Now, I do tend to use DuckDuckGo on my computer. This is my computer that I'm using. My wife's on her computer. She uses Google. And she also uses Mozilla browser, whereas I'm using Brave. But this is the first site that I had that what the different search engines are doing. Now, Brave itself is noted for its privacy. And I'm going to give you an example of this. You can see here that on this is Brave's own little checker. It's got tracker, and it's 99 items that blocked. Now, to be honest, when I started this video, I only they showed about 23 or 25. So as time goes on, it's obviously searching and finding the various ads and trackers. This is not just trackers, but I've got up here DuckDuckGo's Privacy Essentials, which is an extension that I've added. And we could see on here that it's found 19 trackers. So is it going to show me the actual trackers? Well, it's only actually showing me Google's trackers, which is what Google does. So, but the point is, Google is absolutely tracking you. And if I go look on the same results using the DuckDuckGo search engine, we have no trackers whatsoever, no ads, no trackers, and nothing here either. So this just goes to show you that Google is trying to monetize you in every way, shape, and form. If you want a bit of privacy, use DuckDuckGo. Now, there's also, I've used Startpage.com, which also gives you interesting results. Let me just go back here and, excuse me a second, and take this search and go on to Startpage. See what it comes up with, because this Startpage uses Google for its searches, but it, like you can see here, it strips out all of the trackers and keeps you relatively private. Let's just see what it's done. It's not found any trackers on here. So Startpage.com is also a good privacy. They call themselves the best. Not here, obviously. They call themselves the most private search engine. I'm not entirely sure that's true, because they've recently been bought by a advertising company. So even though they're not tracking you, they are definitely in league with the advertisers who are trying to sell you things. So I'm going to go over here and see what Brave actually suggests about no tracking search engines, and there are a lot of them. So if you want to go and have a look, you can go to brave.com, learn no tracking search engine, and check for yourself what are good ones and what are not. Now, the first one they've come up with, whether this is in order of preference, I don't know, but they've come up with DuckDuckGo is the first one. Privacy-minded search results with no tracking, and as we've just shown, it doesn't build a user profile, and it always shows the same results to everyone. So regardless of where you've been searching previously on Google, it doesn't care about that. Google cares about it and generally tries to present you things that it thinks you want to know, whereas DuckDuckGo doesn't. It presents you what it can find. Yahoo search is also probably slightly more private than Google, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. It's not one that I tend to use. Startpage is the third one that Brave recommends, and now it does use Google's own search engine behind the scenes, but it strips all of the privacy bits. It strips all the personal and the trackers and the information. However, whether it actually still captures your data and uses it for its own purposes, I have to do some more research on that one. But it's a decent start search engine, and it gives you results very similar to what Google's does, but without all the privacy issues. WolframAlpha, another search engine, professes not to use peripherals. I don't know this, I've not used it. In fact, most of these others I've not used, and I intend to investigate all of them. Ecosia is an interesting one because it does do ads. It's from search-based ads, but it uses the proceeds it gets from to plant trees, which is fantastic. So if you don't mind ads and you don't mind supporting the environment, maybe Ecosia is the way to go. Qwant, this is another private browser that does not create a user profile. So you can register with Qwant, and then it'll create a profile, and then you'll receive customized ads. I personally don't want to see any ads, which is one of the main reasons I use Brave. For example, if I use Firefox, I've had to add in an ad blocker. Usually uBlock Origin, and I've had to add Privacy Badger as well as the DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials in order not to have the ads. They can break the sites by having all of those extensions, but I found Brave is pretty good on that half. Yippy, no idea what Yippy is. A standard private browser, no data saved, and ads are generated. Again, I don't want ads, which is why I use Brave. It gets rid of the ads. Gibiru, again, I've not heard of this one, but it seems to be an encrypted connection to search Google for you. Now, of course, if you're using a VPN, you'll be encrypted anyway. And you should be using a VPN because it at least hides your activity from your own service provider. All they'll see is you've connected to a VPN, and beyond that, they won't know anything about you. Searx, or Searx, don't know how they would say this. I've had a look at this behind the scenes a little. It's known as a meta search engine. It uses a lot of different search engines for you, anonymously, as it's saying. And this service is supported by donations, meaning there are no ads. It's not one that I've used, but I certainly intend to try it out. As I said, DuckDuckGo has been my primary search engine. Swisscows, I love the name. I spent quite a long time milking cows in my ill-spent youth. The milking cows is a lot of fun. I really got to like them. So I probably will check out the Swisscows. But being based in Switzerland, it's obviously going to be privacy oriented, though their privacy has been a little tarnished, certainly in the banking world, by the international banks forcing Switzerland to reveal their account holders. That's another issue there. Gigablast, they're obviously looking at many different sources. It's got its index of its own web page. Never used it, but it says it doesn't package the results from Google or Bing, and it promises to keep your data private. These are all good things to go check out. MetaGer, a German engine. It also includes a VPN. So it's giving you 2 layers. Personally, I like to buy a VPN rather than use a free one. Free VPNs are proven to be not exactly private. They gather your data and they sell it, which is how they're free because you are the customer, in the same way that Google does it to you. You use Google for free, but believe me, you're being used. Lukol, no idea. A streamlined, anonymized search engine delivering Google results without the Google surveillance. That's good. Again, need to check it out. As I said, Google itself is a decent search engine. It's its surveillance issues that are the main problem. And Oscobo. Like Lukol, Oscobo blocks third-party trackers. I would suggest if you're using a combo of Brave and DuckDuckGo's privacy essentials, you can check all of these out for yourself to show that they are not tracking you. So, for example, I'm just going to go over here to YouTube a second. YouTube.com, because they too are a search engine. And happy birthday with minions, isn't that nice? That came up first because I sent it to a friend of mine. It was his 70th birthday. Anyway, you're seeing here that there are trackers on here. Why is it doing this? Count options. I'm looking at the wrong one, looking at LastPass. So it's got 6 trackers that it's using, or ads, not sure which. And DuckDuckGo is telling me it hasn't found any trackers, so that must be but it has poor privacy practices, so it's owned by Google, so we can pretty much take that for granted. What else did I want to go look at? I want to go look at BitChute itself. Did I do that before? BitChute.com. That certainly does have a, whether it's a tracker or an ad, it's difficult to tell. Hence I go here, and it's found no tracker, so it's obviously advertising. But there we go. That's enough for private search engines. You can go to Brave yourself, to brave.com, learn no tracking search engines, and try some of these out. As I say, I use DuckDuckGo and Startpage, and I've been very happy, particularly with DuckDuckGo. It gives me a different set of results than Google does. So there you go. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are on the planet, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.